world famous LIR.com, 927LIR.com, and YouTube. I am John Kalaboukas, the Bouk, with my friend Paul Zubulake, Zoobie. So we're both wearing some type of gray, which describes our mood after yesterday.
Yes, it's definitely some gloomy times. It's gloomy times for Bouk and Zoobie and our fans who check in every week. And that's the first thing I want to say, because if you want to listen to Jet Misery, which there are a few of you out there, you've come to the right place. I wanted to tell you a little bit about my plans, John. So if you don't mind, I'm going to start there. So I just
Sure.
wanted to let you and the audience know that I have contacted an attorney, and I am looking into filing divorce papers with the New York Jets. So there may be a legal precedent in this where I'm able to do it and legally force the Jets to pay me punitive damages. So, folks, I think I have a pretty good case.
Well,
You don't think so, John? You don't think that's
no, I
cruel?
love the idea, but
No,
just
I can't do it.
no, I love the idea. Why
You
not?
like it? Pain and suffering. I mean, are you
It
kidding
is
me?
pain and suffering. It's not a bad idea, especially through all the misery we've been through all
Right, right.
these years.
So before we get to the game and everybody involved in it, I always like to hark back to a story back in I believe it was, I guess it was 1996, when Richie Kotite just completed his second year. I believe it was 95, 96. And after being, I was a season ticket holder, as I've mentioned many times on the show. Me and my cousin, we were going to give up our seats because we literally went to 3 games in 2 years in person to avoid the embarrassment. I wasn't interested in going to a game and putting a bag over my head or whatever, especially at a younger age. But what happened? Our previous owner, Leon Hess, made a Hail Mary call to Bill Parcells. And only Bill Parcells would do what he did. And he left us too, but that's another story. He brought credibility back into the organization in one swoop. And that, folks, is the only way that this organization can really salvage its relationship with the fan base that is older. Now, the young fan base, which I just get such a kick out of them, who've been following, they're probably, between that 25 and 40, and they've been following the team, 10, 20 years, depending, and they act like they've gone through all this pain and suffering, John. So in our age bracket, in that 60-year, where we're still, too young for Joe Willie, and have lived through the horror since then, that is the group of people that I just think, John, cannot do it anymore. So I'm not sure how much longer we're going to do this show, because it's going to be hard to talk about the Jets and just an absolute embarrassment. And I don't know, John, if you want to talk about that, but that to me is a low point, very similar to that day in 96 when I basically said at the end of that football season, I am done being a season ticket holder. Now, this is done being a real fan.
Yeah.
Not that I will not ever watch a game, because I love professional football. And I'll still want to watch it on Sunday and Thursday and Monday and Saturday and Friday. Well, that's another story. I don't think I should have to give up the love for the game. And it's not like I'm trading the team. It's not like I'm going to be a real fan for any other team. But there does become a point where you just do not have any sort of emotional energy
Yep.
to deal with the slop that we have seen for years and years. And even during the good years, and I forgot last week, I didn't mention 1998. How could I forget that year? There have been some good years. So that is the argument for the young fan who are now going on, what is it, season 14 without the playoffs. So we went from borderline playoff team to no chance to the playoffs 8 games into this season, which is now a 17-game season. It's hard to believe, John, that this team is absolutely out of it before Halloween.
Well, I was lucky enough not to watch yesterday's game
You
because
did
I
not
just
watch the game at all.
at all because myself and my wife went to Manhattan, and she had never been ever on the NBC tour, NBC studio tour. So we
Okay.
decided to go
Okay.
yesterday. We planned it. It just so happens it was a political rally right down the road.
I
So,
heard about that. Yes.
so
Okay.
we were kind of, oh, the great thing about Grand Central Madison, if you've ever been to that station, it
Wait,
is
wait, wait. Grand Central Station. What do you call Grand
no, it's
Central?
called
Yeah.
Grand Central Madison, the Long
Okay.
Island Railroad station that they
Oh,
built underneath
oh,
Grand Central Madison, Central Station.
oh, I didn't know it had its own name. Okay.
Oh yeah, so you don't have to worry about going into Penn Station with what was going on. It was just a madhouse by
Right.
Madison Square Garden. So we went on this tour. It was an hour and a half. And, of course, we went out to eat and we get on the train. And I said, let's check to see what the Jets are doing. So it's around 10, I'd say like 5-4. I'm like, oh, the Jets are up 22-17. And then, I start scrolling down to see what happened. Of course, I saw Zerline missing a field goal, missing an extra point, and I'm like, oh my God. I said, this game should be over. And then all of a sudden, how they have like that game time where you
Right.
you have to wait. It shows like a minute and a half, and they're on the Jets 45, and then it's 3rd and 10. I'm like, oh, the Jets got this. And then you just start seeing time going, and they're getting closer. And I'm like, oh my! I was saying to my wife, it's 4th down and 1. I'm on a train now, watching this on my phone. 22 seconds to go. I said, they're gonna lose this game. I said, the season's over. I said to her, if they score, this season is over. I said, there's no reason for me to watch the rest of the season for the Jets. And of course, they score. And of course, they get the 2-point conversion. And of course, being the Jet fan, the optimistic Jet fan, okay, there's still 22 seconds to go. They'll get it on the 30. So maybe Rodgers will get them to the 40. And I think they ended up on the 46 or something like that. I don't know
Yeah.
what
Well,
happened. I
right.
mean, the
Well, they
time ran
threw it.
out.
They threw it to like midfield with no
Oh,
timeouts, and the
that's
clock
stupid.
literally ran out and Rogers actually, I think it was like 3 seconds ago, was actually started walking because he knew they had no chance to get to the line to kill it. So yeah, they had no timeouts, John.
Uh,
That was almost the story of the game, no timeouts, because laughably, in the first quarter, the Jets used 3 timeouts on
I
offense.
read about it. I read
And
about it.
Aaron Rodgers and his coaching staff, as we're on play caller 2, have they just have I don't know what is going on over in Florham Park, John, but it looks like they are not practicing during the week, or they're obviously not taking the practice seriously, because the amount of mental mistakes that they make in a game is incredible. And where the offense still doesn't know where to, certain players on the offense still don't know where to line up, or what the hot read is, or there's still just a lamaze about the team. Where I'll give you a quick one thing I thought was a huge part of the game, where when the Jets were losing, I guess it was it 14-13 because they missed the extra point. I hope I have the total details right, but the Jets had a 2nd and 1, and Brees Hall gets the ball, and he basically stops instead of realizing like, oh crap, it's 2nd and 1, I got to put my head down and try to get this yard because I don't want it to get to 3rd down. He literally stops and he tries to shift a little bit, and the next thing you know, he's gaining nothing. And then it's 3rd and 1. This is inside the 20. Then they throw like a slam pass to Adams, incomplete, and they had to settle for a field goal. So I think that made it 16-14 instead of the Jets should have been up, hopefully, at least a touchdown. So I don't know what's going on with Breece Hall. He had some good plays, but there is just something going on in this locker room. And we may hear about it soon because this is just imploding now, where they have a game on Thursday night this week, folks, as a reminder, against Houston, who's obviously one of the best teams in the AFC, but the same team that the Jets really beat badly last year in a 7-10 season with Zach Wilson at the helm. So it really makes you think that what an opportunity they really did blow. But this team this year is nothing like last year's team. As bad as that team was, that team played with an emotion
Right.
and they cared. This year's team, and you can tie it to the firing of Coach Saleh. They really just don't care. And they have too many guys who are just in here for the money.
Yeah.
And they're one and done and they're going to be gone. And it looks like Rodgers is at the top of that list, John, because he's playing like he's finished,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
he may be finished, and it's kind of sad, because there's a lot of fans out there who had a lot of hope, and there's a lot of fans like us who've been suffering for a real long time, and enough is enough.
Well, you expressed your disgust in the beginning of the show. It's funny that you came up with that because I had this discussion again with my wife on the train, and she goes, "Can any New York team win something? Can
Well, the
any
ones
New
we
York?"
root for.
Yeah, right. And I said to her, I said, "Well, think about the teams I root for." I said, "I've been a Jet fan for 50 years. Okay? I've been a Knick fan for 51 years. I've been a Met fan for 53 years. And what have I? 1986. That's all I have for all of those years. 1986. And by the way, I really, as much as I like I mean, we could say it's in the baseball segment, but I might as well now. Can we stop hearing about the 1986 Mets, please? I like them. I like the guys. But come on, man. Give us something else. Give us something. Something. Even the Rangers rooting for a long time. Not as long as those other teams, but still not. I mean, other than 94, what else?
We've talked about this a lot, and that's why we always joke about.
We're fed up, man. We're fed
Right, we're
up.
at the right. That's why
And it's funny that we're allowed to have this venting session here because you know we used to be so vested in these teams. I mean, when we were younger, we used to. I almost felt like physical pain when these teams used to lose. I mean, to the point where it just bothered me to a point where I had to go out for a walk. I had to, just go work out somewhere. But now as an adult, you know what? I'm not going to be sad over anything for the. I'm going to be pissed off for a day, and that's it. I'll be pissed off for a day. I'll move on.
Well, what a just a crazy ending. So that's going to be on. That's going to be the play of the year, John. I have to say, I don't know how you can beat that play out.
It just like I said, I actually watched it like three different times because I saw the actual play, then I saw the one about him yapping to the fans and not even paying attention, and then all of a sudden the play's happening. I mean, what is? just a lack of discipline with some of these guys. Just a lack of discipline. But
I don't know what they're thinking and also just the idea of just like letting the quarterback go from one side of the field to the other and giving them all that time to throw it 70 yards. I mean, you need time. And it was just too perfect. It was something out of like they were practicing it and it just like you couldn't make it up how easy it was because obviously there's a defender that's a responsibility for the defender. So yeah, he's
I
going to
was
go down in
actually
history. I don't know if he's going to get cut for that, but he should get benched. I hope.
I actually was reading in the paper how long the play took itself. That
But it was
they were saying it was almost 13 seconds. Does that sound right to you?
easy, definitely, yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. That's
So,
absolutely crazy.
yeah, so that was definitely, to say the least, the game of the week, a big blow to the Bears. I mean, just can they survive something like that? Because that's brutal.
How about my Detroit Lions, man, beating up
Playing great,
everyone? They
playing
look
great.
they look great.
Yes, they are. They are we're gonna I'm in Kansas City. So that is the two best teams in the league. Packers are up there, and I mean I just the Commanders are not a top team. The Eagles with a nice win. They're doing well. I didn't really see much of last night's game. Dallas. I mean, the Dak Prescott contract. I mean, I know
Mm.
the Deshaun Watson contract is on a field of its own, level of its own. But this Prescott situation,
Oh,
John, they just guaranteed him all this amount of money,
oh,
and I'm not blaming Dak Prescott for all their ills, but they're just not a good team, John. They've had some
no.
injuries, but they're just not that good. I mean, Micah Parsons is huge, so it just shows that injuries is always a factor. So they're reeling.
Well, what
So
about the Browns beating the Ravens on the final minute? That was a big upset, huge upset.
yeah, I'll tell you, yeah, that's. I mean, Lamar Jackson is such a gamer. Talk about a guy who I mean, talk about a guy who cares. A guy who will run through a wall. Unlike Anthony Richardson of the Colts, who actually asked off the field as the quarterback. And I'm like,
Yeah,
Anthony, you're not playing wide receiver. You can't like walk off the field because your backup quarterback is probably not ready, even though Joe
I
Flacco was
never heard of
born
that. That
ready.
he was. I never heard of that. I replace me because I'm tired.
Well, yeah, right, but again, John,
Tired?
he's tired. No, it's legit tired, but you as a quarterback, you can't ask off the field.
Wow.
So yeah, no, that was a bad situation for the Colts. So yeah, no, it's nothing much has changed, John, right? The Bills, the Chiefs, the Texans, I mentioned them last week. I thought the Ravens were in their class. Lost to the Browns. I mean, Jameis Winston is a better quarterback right now than Deshaun Watson. So, do they have a chance of getting back into it? They're in that 2-6 category. And then I guess I want to talk about the worst teams in the league. The Jets are now in the conversation for worst team in the
Amazing.
league. So
It's amazing.
I've been way too nice to them, but that's where they sit. They're one of the worst teams in the league.
You know what? Maybe you'll succeed in that lawsuit because this is a lot of pain and suffering.
There's a lot of pain and suffering for a lot of fans. So you feel bad for fans who don't, for root for teams who don't win anytime ever. It gets old. We're living it. So yeah, you got to pick up some college teams.
Well,
I would take the Liberty. Can I get that as a championship, John? No, can I get that?
hey, they had a couple of 100,000 people that the city wasted taxpayer money on for a ticker tape parade.
They did have a parade. I didn't hear anything about it. It was
They had
very
it downtown.
No, I know it was undercovered, I thought, right? I didn't hear much
Yeah,
about
no,
it. So
yeah,
that's yeah, nothing again. Hey, good for them. I have not, to put them in the Canyon of Heroes or something. It's like you got to be kidding me. But
yeah,
good for them. They won. Good for them. They're
yeah, yeah.
playing.
No,
We love college. I mean, we love women's hoops more on the college level than the pros. And that's a saving grace, John. Incredibly, college basketball is starting next week, November 4th, and both Baylor and St. John's, I think, are playing on the 4th, correct?
Yes, we are. We're playing Fordham at Carnesecca Arena.
Will you be there?
I may.
You
Yeah, I
may
may
go.
go. I may
All
go.
right. I heard Zuby Etchafor is looking good.
I told you. I
There you
told you
go. One
about
of your,
Zubulake. Yeah.
of course, my favorite player in college basketball, and one of your favorites because he plays for St. John's. So it's going to be fun to watch them. And I do will, as you know, mention Baylor because their opening game, John. This is pretty funny. 11:30 Eastern p.m. tip-off.
What?
Gonzaga Baylor in
Wow.
the state of
Wow.
Washington.
Wow.
So that will be on the late game. I think I may tape that and watch it the following morning. Do I have the stamina to make it that late? It's on a Monday, John. I mean,
You'll
you know,
never
that's
do it.
so you don't think I could do it. So that could be a challenge. Maybe I'll do a live video recording with the toothpicks in my eyes, trying to keep me up for that. Or just be smart and tape it and watch it when you wake up. That would be too smart if I have enough time to do it. But anyway, that's a little college hoop, a little because we're going to be looking for things to talk about. So you want to talk a little winter sports, John? You got
Yeah.
anything to say?
Yeah. I mean, the Knicks actually had a nice bounce back win against the Pacers. I don't know if you saw any of that game, but
Did not.
they played very, very well. They actually played defense the way they're supposed to. Um, Cat, or as we'll refer to him as Cat, Carl Anthony Towns, actually played tough. He was rebounding. He was blocking shots. It's wonderful to see a big man that has hands that can shoot. He
Right.
has a nice little hook that he developed. I mean, this kid is. I mean, he's an offensive monster. He's a real offense. I mean, he has a lot of different moves. I didn't realize that he developed because we don't really see the Timberwolves that
Right.
much
Hmm.
once in a while, but he has really improved his offensive game. I mean, he had so many different moves. I mean, we knew about his 3-point shooting, but I'm talking about his inside game. How he was not intimidated by anyone.
Good for him. Well, it was against the hated Pacers, so the Knicks
Yeah,
definitely
they
wanted to.
destroyed him.
Yeah, they wanted to pay him back. So was the Pacers 100% there, or did
They
they
were
have anybody?
100%,
All right, good.
but the top guys weren't scoring because
Hmm.
the what I saw differently from the Boston game is that there was a lot more effort. They if and Bridges just got torched by Tatum in that first game. I mean, just absolutely torched. And I kept saying, why don't they switch off somehow? What? If it's not working with one particular guy, switch off. Put someone else different. They did a lot of that in this game. If there was a mismatch, you saw switching and double teaming. They were a lot more responsive this time than against Boston. Boston, they were always like a step too short, or not fast enough.
Right.
This game, it just seemed like they had a lot of energy, maybe because of the MSG crowd, but they all played well defensively and offensively. They look great.
All
Now
right.
they have a game.
They're playing tonight, right?
Yeah, they're playing tonight. Yeah,
Who are they playing? Cleveland, I want to say.
Cleveland. Yeah, that's going to be a good game.
All right, there you
Yeah,
go. All right.
yeah. But they
All right.
look
Well,
much better, much better. I mean,
2 games in.
uh, the hockey teams look pretty good.
Yeah, it's funny. I have not the Islanders. I don't know what they're doing. The Devils are started out well. I've been watching the Rangers. They look good, but against
Major
Florida,
signing, major extension.
yeah, they signed Alexis Lafreniere, right? They signed a team-friendly deal for the Rangers. That's good news. Igor did not sign his deal. That would have been nice too, but hopefully they won't, be a P. Alonso. I should say when I'm talking about Igor and making it about his contract so early. But they're off to a good start. But like I said, Florida did beat them pretty handily. and that's the road for the Rangers, is through Florida. So that was definitely a little discouraging. But with both of these sports, John, it is just it's a marathon.
Yes, it
There'll be
is.
so many ups and downs. They're both in contention, no doubt. And I did see, Julius Randle and DiVincenzo had got off to a good start.
Yeah,
So maybe that'll
Julius.
be our West Conference team to watch, the T Wolves, because those guys, again, DiVincenzo for a short period of time, but they were good players for the Knicks.
Yeah, Randall scored 33 points the last
Yeah,
game.
yeah.
The only thing that they're going to need to realize it's somewhere along the line he needs to play some defense, and he's not one for playing defense at all. He's a great scorer. I mean, listen, we saw him long enough. Guy can score from anywhere, but when it comes to playing defense, I wish the Timberwolves good luck on that.
Anything else to around the league? It's way early. Has any team jumped out at you like, okay, these
No,
guys look
yeah,
good,
nothing
or
yet. I mean, like you said, it's
still
very,
early?
very early. Yeah, it's very early. I mean, they're already talking about Steph Curry spraining his ankle. I mean, he's been doing that the past couple of years. His ankles
Right.
have been, he keeps having the same injury over and over again. But you have to remember, this is not Steph Curry at 23 years old. This is Steph Curry in his mid 30s now. So, you
Right,
know,
right.
you have
Yeah,
to
well,
you
it's
have to
weird.
expect all.
What's his name? Clay Thompson not being with the Warriors, right? He's with the Mavs,
Yep,
correct?
yep.
All right. Well, yeah. So that's just
Well, there
taking
was
a
a
quick.
funny
Yeah.
thing that happened.
Go ahead.
Actually, there was a very funny thing with the NBA. So, two things happened with the Miami Heat this past week. They
I know.
had
Yeah.
Pat. Well, first they had Pat Riley that they named the court after him in Miami, and I don't know why, I don't know how I saw this, but I saw the entire speech which was never ending speech. I mean, it was supposed to be something that they do, and it's over with. He just kept talking and talking. I've never heard a crowd start making noise like restlessness when he kept going on and on in his speech. You'd think they would have respect for the guy because they won several championships. I mean, in the beginning they gave him the respect, but like the last 10 minutes, the crowd noise was loud while he's speaking. I was like, yeah. I said, Pat, you need to wrap it up. But the really funny thing is the unveiling of the Dwayne Wade, who I could have made a better statue of Dwayne Wade, and I don't even know how to do it. It looks nothing like him. It actually looks like they did it of Dwayne Wade's grandfather. It, did you see that thing? I've never seen such. Did anyone actually look at it before they
You're
unveiled it to say, "Listen, this doesn't look anything like him"?
well. How about like like 80% through or something? Yeah. What do you
Right?
think? And if somebody be like, what? John, that is really funny. I can't even express how funny that is about. I mean, I know it's very hard to get it exact. It's not that easy, but this wasn't even any.
Cool.
And they did it with he had an expression on his face. Right? So it's almost like they got the wrong picture. Like they literally got the wrong guy. That someone gave him a picture.
I, right. Like I said, I don't know. It was that what I don't know. When you look at that statue and you go to Miami, is that really what you remember Dwayne Wade with an angry face,
Yeah.
like almost like I don't know, like pouting or being disgusted? I was like, what is that? And to I don't know if you saw Dwayne Wade's face after they unveiled it. It was like he he had like a blank look, and then he gave like that fake smile, and he's probably saying, "What did they do to me?" Paul, it wasn't close. It
No,
wasn't
I
even
know it is.
close.
No, it's really just it's an embarrassment. It's an embarrassment to the organization, and that I think quietly a year from now,
Oh,
you're
they
going to
will.
hear that they're going to replace that statue.
They
There's no
have to.
doubt. There's no way they're going to keep that up there after the season.
It's
I
a,
mean,
it's like
during the season, like it's there forever, and every time you go to the arena there, you're going to see that. I mean, you're not going to. All you're going to do is laugh. It's going to be like a laughing stock. You
I mean,
know,
you're better off going in the streets of Manhattan and you know how they have those artists that do the caricatures for you.
yeah, right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah. You probably Dwayne Wade was probably better off going to those guys and letting them hand something back to him. At least it'll look like him.
Yeah, yeah, that was bad. That
I
was
mean,
bad. Uh,
and poor Dwayne Wade, not only after seeing it, he actually had to stand in front of it to make a speech to everyone. And I'm like, wow. I wonder what's going through his mind.
well, yeah, it's. I mean, I commend him. I don't think he's bashed it yet, so he's being very politically correct. So yeah, that was pretty funny, John. NBA season off and running. Like I mentioned, college hoop coming, so there is a lot of hope to talk about something different. Hopefully, we won't get that desperate. We could talk about Indiana Hoosier football, who was somehow 8-0 in college football, which is a story in itself. So that my sister went there is probably the reason I'm mentioning it. But if anybody knows anything about Indiana University and their lack of success on the football field, it's jet like. So good for them. That will be the jinx of the week on the Bouk and Zoobie show. So, well, John, let's get to the other story. We're not Yankee fans. We're still a little bit depressed that the Mets are out. The Dodgers are up 2-0, so we all want to hear about it, folks. With baseball, with Bouk.
Yeah, uh, my prediction looks pretty bad right now because here I was thinking that the Yankees were going to have the advantage with pitching. Uh, I mean, let's talk about game one. So
Yeah, it's bad.
Boone pulled a Mendoza. I'm
Well,
going to call it pulling a Mendoza.
times 10, I think. But go.
Yeah. Yeah. First of all, Cole was pitching well, pitched very well actually against the Dodgers. I still think he had some, energy left. I think he might have pulled them too soon. But
Definitely.
beyond that, so you have a lefty, Hill, who has pitched effectively for you for pretty much the season. I mean, you bring him in against lefties. Who do they bring in? Nestor Cortez, who has not,
Yep.
just like our friend Senga,
Yes.
had not pitched in over a month, actually a month and a half almost. And you're bringing him in to face Otani, which by some miracle you got him out. They walk Betts, and now he's facing Freddie Freeman with 2 outs. Game on the line. And what does he throw him? An inside fastball that Freddie Freeman absolutely loves to hit, and they lose on a grand slam.
That was a
The old
brutal
Freddie's
defeat.
back. I mean, Freddie's back. Freddie's ankle is definitely not hurting him because with the Mets, you could clearly see that he was hobbling against the Yankees. Man, he's been clobbering them. But that was such a bad move because Hill was in the bullpen and they could have used him over Cortez. I was stunned that they didn't use this guy because they've been using him like that all year. So if you lose with Hill, that's one thing. But with Cortez, bad
That's
move by Boone, man.
terrible.
Bad move.
Terrible. After I complimented him too. Incredible.
Yeah.
After wanting him fired, maybe I'm showing now it's proven out that he probably should have been fired. So yeah, that was just a complete mystery on both counts, John, because I know how I get crazy about the starting pitching stuff, but Garrett Cole's a bulldog, man.
Yeah.
You don't pull
Yeah.
that guy out of the game until he tells you. I'd
Yeah.
rather just, let him leave it on the mound, and if he blows it, he blows it. But
Right.
yeah, that was and then that hurts you because it is a domino effect. Everybody has to come in a little earlier, and you maybe wouldn't have that situation. But
And did the
I,
Yankees
yeah,
watch the series with the Dodgers and the Mets at all? Again, making the same mistakes the Mets made in their first game against Flaherty, swinging at all his crap below their knees, below their ankles. Did you watch? You didn't. You let this guy throw his stuff. That's it. It's going to be out of the strike zone. And when he can't get it out of the strike zone, he has to throw strikes, and that's how the Mets creamed them. I couldn't believe that. I'm saying to myself, they're making the same exact mistake like the Mets did, swinging at all his garbage. So and
well, they're
then
also playing tonight, right?
yeah,
So
yeah, they're playing tonight, and it's
who's on?
Schmidt.
Okay.
It's Schmidt against Bueller.
Right. All right. Well, this to say it is the proverbial must win. There's no doubt about that. Now
Well,
and they are playing three in a row in Yankee Stadium, I guess,
three in a
right?
row. Three in a
Three
row.
in a row. So, John, they got to win three in a row. They're not going to go back out to LA and win the last
No,
two. They got to win three in a
they,
row. Gives them a fighting chance. They're in big trouble.
they have to win tonight
No, they
because
have to win tonight.
because tomorrow they're going to be facing. They're going to be the Dodgers will have the bullpen game against them, and the Yankees will have Yield in pitching.
Okay.
So they'll be in better shape. But even game two, you know what? When I made my prediction, and you know me, I've been saying all year the Yankees will make the World Series, but they won't win it.
And
I
then
don't
you
know
win
why
against it. Yep.
and I went again, but you know what I totally forgot when I was
What'd you
making
forget?
my prediction? As Carlos Rodon, I said to myself, I said, this guy is a disaster against a team like the Dodgers. I knew that he was going to get crushed. When I saw him, I'm like, oh my God, he's going to get crushed because he's going to try to see if he can sneak his fastball by him. And this is a fastball hitting team. Are you kidding me? And you saw how he was out after, and he was saying, oh, there was something wrong with his hand. No, there was something wrong with his pitching. Okay, if you're saying that there's a blister on your finger, you can't throw 96, 97 miles an hour with a blister on your finger. I'm sorry. So don't start blaming it on a blister that he gave up all those home runs. He's not clutch. He's not clutch.
Well, speaking of, we're going to go to the big story with the Yankees is old number 99.
Oh yeah,
So what do
yeah.
you do? I mean, I don't understand why they haven't just dropped him already. Are they finally doing that tonight where they're going to drop him behind Stanton or are they going to keep it the way it is?
I have no idea
Yeah, we
what
don't know yet.
I,
Okay.
I haven't seen tonight's lineup, but I actually have a former student of mine that is a big Yankee fan and has decided to go to tonight's game, and the price of tickets have dropped dramatically. So they were able to get, even though this is not exactly a deal, but they were able to get for $1,000 bleacher seats
A
for
piece.
a piece.
That's still pretty
Uh,
expensive, John.
but
What?
they used to be $1,400 when
Okay.
when the series started.
Hmm.
Because now it's that that's all with all the fees and everything, $1,000.
Okay, right.
So probably the ticket itself is what, $700 and $300 worth of fees from whatever Ticketmaster or all those other crooked websites who may be sponsors on this show one day. Who knows?
Oh, yes, John.
Who
Yeah,
knows?
that'd be sponsoring.
We're calling them a bunch of crooks, but
No,
it's all
I am
right.
not. You are, John. I am
I know.
their outstanding organization, those ticket guys. Oh, I just love them all. It's a thing of beauty. But entertainment's expensive. You got to
It
pay
is.
up. Luckily for the people who watch our show, free, John, where our show is free. And the content is great. I'm only kidding. I don't know what to tell you. I'm a little delirious, folks. Living through these Sundays is getting old. So what else you got with baseball? You want to mention anything about the Mets? Or I guess we definitely should mention this is up your alley. Is Fernando, right? Fernando
Yeah,
Valenzuela.
Fernando
Okay.
Valenzuela. Yep, I
Right.
was
Yeah,
just
it's so
ready to.
sad, right? Yeah. Was he sick or any details?
He, I don't want to make assumptions, but
Okay.
the way he looked, he lost a lot of weight. So
Okay.
either, you know,
Could be
there's so
anything.
many things it could be,
Yeah, let's
but
hope
he
that.
looked very sickly.
Right. He was sick.
People don't know that he was on the Spanish broadcast side for the Dodgers. He's been doing that for years.
Right.
For
Okay.
I believe it's over 20 years he's been doing it. But I want to give our viewers and our listeners a little bit of history. So in 1981, that's when Valenzuela came in. He just took baseball by storm. If people don't know this, he went in his first 8 starts, he went 8-0 and had 7 complete games. He had, I believe, a 0 point. It was definitely below half a run a game. He was throwing all these shutouts. And like I said, complete games, which you never hear about anymore. Imagine 7 out of his first 8 games. It was actually 8 out of 8, but the eighth game actually went into extra innings. He only could pitch 9. So technically, he had actually 8 complete games. But he actually came to visit Shea Stadium in the middle of that streak. And for those of you who knew about the 1981 Mets, if they had 10,000 fans for any game for that awful team, that was a lot. I actually went to the game where Fernando came to Shea Stadium, and there was over 40,000 fans at that. I remember, I was like, wow, it's almost sold out. They actually opened up the mezzanine and the upper deck for this game, which was amazing to me. And it, you know, it the fans were on his side. I mean, I would say there were some Met fans. I mean, it was a 1-0 game. He won 1-0. He pitched the entire game. And I don't know, he seemed to have thrown if I remember correctly, he struck out a lot of people, but I think he walked a lot of people too. But anyway, it was very unusual to see a young kid. They said he was 20 years old at the time. Why is it that these guys, these Mexican ball players, look like they're 15 years older than their actual age? He looked like he was 35 years old when he was 20 years old. Okay,
He might have
so
lied a little bit.
I lied a little bit. Wow.
All right. Well, he was
But,
he
but
was a
anyway,
great pitcher. Yeah, it's
he
sad
was,
to hear.
yeah. Listen, that year he won not only the Rookie of the Year, he won the Cy Young, and he won a World Series against the Yankees,
Yeah.
1981.
Right.
So, and I just wrote down his stats. So he ended up being 173 wins, 153 losses, but with the Dodgers, because after he left the Dodgers, he had some arm troubles and everything. He went to a lot of different teams, but he was 141 and 116 with the Dodgers,
Okay.
and he, uh, he brought a whole new crowd of fans to the game, which they still remain Dodger fans because of him. And he was a nice guy too. When they actually did the memorial for him, I don't know if you saw that before the World Series
No,
game.
I didn't see
They
it.
showed his family, his son and his daughters, and you felt sad for them. I mean, they're young. They probably are in their 20s, and they actually look like they're dead. It was pretty funny, and but they were sad. Obviously, 63 years old.
Yeah, way too young.
Great ambassador for the game.
Yeah, way too
Great ambassador for the
way too
game.
young, I should say.
Yeah.
All right. Any other thoughts?
Uh, just 2 other things, really quick. I know I texted you this. Paul and I were wondering why the Mets did not pinch hit for Jeff McNeil with a lefty on the mound in Game 6. We kept saying, why isn't Iglesias coming in? Well, Mr. Iglesias was in the hospital with an IV in his arm for the flu. So he wasn't even in the dugout, which it's pretty funny that no one picked up on that because, you have to find out a week later that he was in the hospital.
Well, not to
So,
mention he's supposed to be available for the game. So
right.
yeah, but this is the national broadcast, John. Those are details they can't deal with. Even though they never shut up, these guys who are doing these games are
Please,
horrible.
John Smoltz. Can
Yeah,
John
never shuts up.
Smoltz please give
I,
us a moment to breathe and see
yeah,
the action? John, I can see what's going on in the game. You don't have to let me know every second about, well, this is why the ball moved and this is the way the numbers of this. I said, just let us watch the game, man. You don't have to keep talking all the time.
you're
I
not
mean,
kidding.
Smoltz
No,
has a lot of knowledge, but he needs to quiet down, man. Just, I don't know. And
I,
these interviews going on during the game, it's like the same thing with hockey. I mean, we brought it up during hockey. These guys don't want to be bothered. They really don't.
it
You're
adds
trying to
nothing.
manage a World Series game, and you're coming up. What are you gonna do? What's your strategy for the next couple of innings? What are you expecting to say? So the other team can hear their strategy across the way if someone's watching TV and say, "Well, yeah, by the way, Robert said that he's going to be bringing his guy in 3 innings from now." Come on, this is so stupid.
No, it's silly. It's so
It's really
silly.
silly.
And what's your other one?
I mean, with the Mets, uh, you're hearing all this crazy already. The crazy rumors are already starting that the Dodgers are going to be a player for Soto. The Mets are going to. I'm sure Scott Boras is just planting this all over the place. The Dodgers, the Mets, the Yankees, they're all going to be fighting over Soto. Yeah, I mean, the way Soto is playing the outfield, I think someone needs to work with him on his outfield defense. He's pretty shaky out there, really shaky.
Well, that's why
I
he's
mean,
perfect for Yankee Stadium in right field. You don't have
right,
to play
right. He
much.
doesn't have
Yeah,
to move at all.
yeah,
He
yeah.
doesn't have to move at all.
He's going
At
to sign
City
with the Yankees.
Field, if he's in right field, that's going to be a problem because he doesn't
Well,
go back on the ball well. He gives up on balls pretty quickly too. Where you see him already facing the wall. The ball hasn't even hit the wall yet. He's just not going after it. So listen,
I'll say Yankees. I think he's going to sign with the Yankees. It will
we'll
be a enormous deal, and it will make your head spin. So yeah, we'll see what the Yankees can get back into it. I hope they do, because you don't want to. You
no,
like to see it go at least 6 games. Not to
me too.
say, my prediction was the Dodgers in 6, so I am a little biased to that ending. At the Yeah, the Yankee fans, nothing against you guys, but no joy for me, no joy for you. And that's how I'll end the show. So who do you got to thank, John?
As always, thank you to our producer Zach Zubulake and to our loyal listeners. We love the feedback. Keep it coming. Also, thanks to our community partners, Ronald McDonald House, Kids in Seats, and the Jackie Robinson Foundation. See you next week.